Have you ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers, day by day, with nothing to show for it? Here's the harsh truth. Many of us are throwing away our lives, caught in a web of addictions and bad habits. But guess what? It doesn't have to be this way. Imagine waking up each morning with a clear purpose, unstoppable motivation, and the self-discipline to crush your goals. Sounds impossible? It's not. The secret lies in taking control of your life right now. Addiction isn't just about drugs or alcohol. In fact, it can manifest in our daily lives in ways we often overlook. Think about how easy it is to get lost in hours of online shopping, endless internet browsing, or even the comforting allure of fast food. These behaviors persist even when they start to mess up our routines or health. This is the true essence of addiction. It's any behavior that we can't seem to shake, despite knowing it's not good for us. Now, picture this. Someone starts their day intending to be productive, but then a quick glance at social media turns into hours of scrolling. The result? A day wasted and a creeping sense of guilt. That's addiction in action. It's about how our brain clings to these habits, driven by the temporary pleasure they provide. It's not just about substances, but also about those everyday behaviors that subtly take over our lives. It's crucial to understand that addiction can stem from things we don't usually associate with the term. For instance, relying on fast food for comfort after a stressful day or constantly checking emails for that dopamine hit. Recognizing these patterns is the first step. Addictive behavior is a complex dance between seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. It's all about the dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. Activities that give us a big hit of dopamine, like eating junk food, scrolling through social media, or even shopping, can quickly become addictive. Our brains love that rush, and before we know it, we're hooked. These highly dopaminergic activities are often at the root of our addictive behaviors. Imagine someone who can't stop playing video games. It's not just the fun of the game, it's the thrill, the dopamine surge that makes it hard to quit. The brain starts craving that feeling, pushing us to repeat the behavior even if it means skipping responsibilities or losing sleep. This is why understanding the role of dopamine is crucial. By recognizing what drives these habits, we can start to see the bigger picture of our own addictions. But it's not just about the pleasure, it's also about avoiding pain. Sometimes, we engage in these behaviors to escape stress, anxiety, or discomfort. Take binge-watching TV shows, for example. It's an easy way to avoid dealing with a tough day or personal issues. Understanding this dual nature, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, helps us see why breaking free from addiction requires more than just willpower. It's about addressing both sides of the coin to find true balance and self-discipline. The brain's pain-pleasure balance is a fascinating concept that explains why we get addicted to certain behaviors. When we engage in pleasure-inducing activities, like eating sweets or playing video games, the brain releases a burst of dopamine, tipping the balance towards pleasure. However, the brain is designed to maintain equilibrium, so after a while, it compensates by tipping the balance back towards pain. This creates a cycle where we crave more of the pleasurable activity to avoid the discomfort that follows. Consider the example of someone who enjoys shopping. The thrill of buying new items gives them a dopamine boost, but once the excitement wears off, they might feel a sense of emptiness or regret. To counteract this feeling, they shop again, perpetuating the cycle. This pain-pleasure balance explains why we often find ourselves stuck in patterns of behavior that are hard to break. Understanding this cycle is key to overcoming addiction and establishing good habits. Moreover, this balance highlights why simply indulging in what feels good can lead to negative consequences. Our brains naturally seek to balance out the highs with lows, which is why we might feel a crash after a dopamine rush. Recognizing this pattern can help us be more mindful of our actions and the long-term impact they have on our motivation and self-discipline. Breaking free from addiction requires a strategic approach, and one effective method is the dopamine fast. This involves abstaining from the addictive behavior for at least a month to reset the brain's balance and reduce cravings. Think of it as giving your brain a much-needed break from the constant bombardment of dopamine. By doing this, you allow your mind to recalibrate, making it easier to develop self-discipline and foster good habits. Let's say someone decides to take a break from social media. Initially, it might feel challenging as they resist the urge to check their feeds. However, as days pass, they start noticing an increase in their focus and productivity. They begin to feel less dependent on those brief dopamine hits and more motivated to engage in activities that provide long-term satisfaction. This is the power of a dopamine fast. It helps reset your brain's addiction to immediate pleasures, paving the way for healthier habits. A dopamine fast isn't just about abstaining, it's about replacing the addictive behavior with positive actions. For instance, if someone usually spends hours on their phone, they could use that time to read a book, exercise, or learn a new skill. These activities not only reduce the reliance on quick dopamine fixes, but also build a sense of achievement and self-worth. Breaking free from addiction isn't just about stopping the behavior, it's about creating a supportive environment and adopting new, healthier habits. The first step is to identify your triggers. These could be situations, emotions, or even people that push you towards the addictive behavior. For example, if stress at work leads you to binge on junk food, recognizing this pattern is crucial. Once you know your triggers, you can start to manage them more effectively. Next, optimize your environment to reduce temptations. If you're trying to cut down on fast food, make sure your kitchen is stocked with healthy alternatives. Remove the apps from your phone that distract you and set up a dedicated workspace to stay focused. By creating a space that supports your goals, you make it easier to stick to your plan. This step is all about making the right choices convenient and the wrong ones harder to access. Lastly, find alternative behaviors and challenge yourself daily. If you usually turn to social media for a dopamine hit, replace that habit with something constructive, like going for a walk or starting a new hobby. Doing something difficult daily, such as a challenging workout or a new learning activity, helps build self-discipline. These steps not only help manage cravings, but also foster a sense of accomplishment and motivation. Over time, these new habits will become second nature, helping you overcome the old, addictive ones. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt, plays a pivotal role in overcoming addiction. When you abstain from addictive behaviors, you weaken the neural connections associated with those actions. Think of it like a well-worn path in the forest. If you stop walking that path, nature will eventually reclaim it. This is how your brain works. By avoiding the addictive behavior, you allow your brain to form new, healthier pathways, reinforcing good habits and self-discipline. Consider someone who has been addicted to their smartphone. By taking a break from constant notifications and mindless scrolling, they start to notice a change. They become more present, more engaged with the world around them. This shift is due to neuroplasticity. New neural pathways are being formed that support more mindful and productive behaviors. It's a powerful reminder that our brains are not fixed. They are continually evolving based on our actions and choices. To truly reset the balance, it's important to consistently practice new behaviors that promote well-being and motivation. For example, integrating a daily meditation practice can help reduce stress and improve focus. Engaging in physical activities like yoga or running can enhance mood and energy levels. These activities not only support the brain's adaptation, but also provide a sense of accomplishment and motivation. Over time, as these new habits take root, the grip of the old addictive behaviors loosens, allowing for a more balanced and fulfilling life. When it comes to overcoming addiction, there's a fine line between moderation and abstinence. For some individuals, moderation might be a viable option, but it requires strict boundaries and a high level of self-discipline. Think of someone who enjoys a glass of wine occasionally. If they can stick to just one glass and not let it spiral into a bottle, moderation works. However, this approach isn't for everyone. For many, the risk of slipping back into old patterns is too high, making complete abstinence the safer and more effective route. Consider the example of a person addicted to gambling. While they might initially think they can gamble in moderation, the thrill and rush of winning can quickly pull them back into the cycle of addiction. For such individuals, the best strategy is often total abstinence. This means avoiding gambling altogether, steering clear of casinos, and not engaging in any betting activities. It's about creating a new lifestyle where the temptation is removed entirely, allowing them to build a life free from the constant pull of addiction. Ultimately, whether one chooses moderation or abstinence, the key is to understand their own limits and triggers. It's crucial to be honest with oneself about what is sustainable and healthy in the long run. Establishing a support system, whether through friends, family, or support groups, can provide the necessary encouragement and accountability. Now ask yourself, what addictions are holding you back? What small steps can you take today to start building self-discipline and motivation? The journey won't be easy, but the rewards are immense. Imagine the freedom of breaking free from your addictions and the joy of cultivating good habits that propel you towards success. Don't let another day slip by. Commit to change now. I want to hear from you. What's the first step you'll take towards reclaiming your life? Leave a comment below and share your journey. And remember, this is just the beginning. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more tips and strategies for overcoming addiction and mastering self-discipline. Your best life is waiting. Let's rise together.